Core Additive, our local reseller. I don't know if you guys have noticed, we live in a very different world since COVID. I don't know if anyone kind of looks around, whether you go to the grocery store and you look at a slice of bread or an avocado that's like doubled in price since COVID. Every single company and every single probably individual recognizes that we are entering a very different world than the one that was before COVID. Every single manufacturer is struggling today with supply chain issues, rising costs, inflation, skill shortages, labor shortages. This is happening throughout the entire manufacturing industry. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but I don't think it's going to get any better anytime soon. That's just the reality. I think we can do one of two things. We can bury our head in the sand and wait and come back up when prices go down, which for any of you know that prices never go down once they reach a certain level. So what's really happening, I believe, is that we are entering this new economy. And this new economy is really based on digital and artificial intelligence. And every single one of us in this room will have to, I believe, in this decade, have to reinvent how we do things. Because guess what? Robots, automation, artificial intelligence is becoming smarter, faster, better. So that the way that we were doing things 30 years ago, we're not going to be able to do that today or in 30 years from now. And this is really where things like additive manufacturing and partnering with CADDS come in. So our recent surveys show that 71% of companies and manufacturers say digital transformation and looking at making things in a new way have increased since COVID because of all of these challenges. Does anyone know here roughly how much of the stuff that we make or import in this country versus import when it comes to components is made in China? It's about 40% of the stuff that you see and you look around you is actually made in China today. And there's a lot of efforts around the country to look at reshoring because, sorry again to be the bearer of bad news, there's a lot of geopolitical instability and there's a lot of challenges that I see when I travel across Asia Pacific. I see that there are these geopolitical tensions, for lack of a better word, right? And every manufacturer is looking for an option. If they've been making in China, they're looking at potentially reshoring or moving to another country. And this is also something that's really helping driving and pushing additive manufacturing. These are kind of the key areas and trends that are pushing companies to leverage and embrace additive manufacturing. So why is it that we wanted to do this partnership with CADDS, and what is it that about mining that is really of interest for us at Markforged? Well, if you think about it, mining is done in obviously some of the most hostile locations in the world. It's very remote. It's not just down the road here, right? It's very, very far away. And getting components and parts to mine sites is incredibly difficult. If you think that it's challenging here in Perth, WA, because we're far away from everyone, I think when you're at a mine site, it's even more difficult. And you wouldn't believe some of the parts that you see out here on the table that we can manufacture for a fraction of the cost of what it takes for an OEM to send the part from, whether it's from Perth or Sydney or from Germany or from Japan. Components that are costing thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars can be reverse engineered and be produced using additive manufacturing for literally a fraction of the cost. And this is what we are looking at exploring today with CADDS and into the future. Today, a lot of the mining equipment manufacturers are already leveraging our technology. Companies like Caterpillar have been using Markforged for a very, very long time. And what is it that entices Caterpillar, and really where do we see the future of manufacturing going, and what is it that we do? As previous speakers said, like Pip, it's cool stuff to look at, but it's not really about 3D printing. What we are trying to do is we're trying to build an additive manufacturing platform that enables companies and OEMs to produce parts that are certified, tested, and that when the part is printed, it's exactly as per the manufacturing specifications. So recently we announced what we call the digital source. The digital source is essentially the manufacturing version of Netflix. So imagine in the past where shipping parts, or we were, how we used to ship parts around the world, which is what we do today, is similar to how we used to go to Blockbuster and rent movies. We used to actually ship movies, or VHS tapes for you guys who wasn't around at that time. That was before DVDs. And we used to drive to the store on a Friday night. We used to scroll and look for movies and what did we want to watch. When we pick something, we bring it back home to the VHS tape and we played it, and that was pretty much it. That's all we watched because there was no other option. Right? Today, what do? We log into Netflix. We probably spend an hour or two scrolling through digital inventories of movies. And then eventually, towards the end of the night, we decide to watch something before we fall asleep. But the beauty here is that watching that movie is instant. So whatever TV show or movie that you want to watch, you decide and it starts playing. It's the same thing with manufacturing today. That's what we've invented kind of at Markforged, is this digital inventory of parts that can be produced anywhere at any time. So how do we get these parts into the digital inventory? This is really where the synergy with CADDS comes in, because of course today, not every OEM is collaborating with us. Right? So we need to reverse engineer 3D CAD, 3D scan components, bring them into the digital inventory, and when they're there, they can be made anywhere in the world. Today we have over 20,000 of these printers out in the field, and they can, you can essentially from your mobile phone today send your CAD file to any of these printers through a digital connected network. In 10 years from now, I'm sure there'll be millions of these boxes. So it's not about the printer, it's really about the technology and the mindset shift change that we have to embrace when it comes to manufacturing. So I hope this makes sense. I won't go into the technical details. Really, what I like to do is really encourage you to do one of two things. Hey, if you want to, you're very impressed, you want to buy one of these tonight, speak to Leanne, it can do a great deal. But more importantly, if you have a part, and it doesn't have to be complicated, I would encourage you to reach out to the CADDS team, and together with CADDS and Markforged, we can look at components in your digital inventory, or your inventory that you're spending hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars on shelving, whatever it might be, and we can start with one single component, reverse engineer that, and try it. Right? This is really what the purpose of this Center of Excellence is, to really locally in WA come together as a manufacturing and mining community and look at reshoring manufacturing back home to WA and improving things faster, cheaper, in ways that encourage and drives jobs in the city of Coventry. So, hey, with that, thank you so much for being here. I'll be here to answer any questions after the event. Thank you again, CADDS Group, for this partnership. Thank you again, Core Additive, for being our value-added local reseller. Thank you so much.